perennial borders are really starting to take shape now with a lot of repeating patterns, such as the GM Totally Tangerine, some Stiper, all sorts of different perennials coming up here. Some of them are year one, some of them are year two. And in the annual borders, of particular note, the bunny-tailed grasses and the New Covent Garden Gypsophila. I love the bunny-tailed grasses. These were autumn sown, and my goodness, you notice it as well, at least 2 times, if not 3 times the height of anything that's spring sown. But I have got some spring sown ones coming on right beside them. And the Gypsophila Covent Garden is really getting nice and tall now. Again, autumn sown, so yeah, it's really noticeable, the difference. And this is going to be perfect for my weddings next week. This Amelia replaces some ranunculus that really didn't do very well, so I've just planted that out this week. So it has a lovely little orange flower, which I love. The other thing I wanted to show you was the apple mint, which I have eventually this year, after 9 years, remembered to Chelsea chop. So I've got 2 beds of apple mint. The bed behind me, I'm just going to let that grow, and that's going to be my first cut. It's almost ready. I think it still might be a little bit floppy, but maybe another week or so, and I think that'll hold up well. And then this bed I've completely chopped down so that will give me my second flush, I'm hoping. So yeah, Chelsea chopped it, so this time in May a lot of perennials will benefit from that. So we've taken off about a foot. Okay, let's have a look at the annual borders. As you can see, the hardy annuals, which were sown in the autumn, are finally doing pretty well. The Sweet William biennials are really coming on, and more hardy, autumn sown hardy annuals, the Ami. So we've got a mixture of hardy annuals and biennials here, so let's take a closer look at each of them. This is spring sown Gypsophila, so Covent Garden again, just a little bit shorter. This is Agrostoma or corncockle in white and blush. This was autumn sown. Dianthus alba, Sweet William in white. Again, this would have been sown probably last June. Hesperus or Sweet Rocket comes in 2 colours and is a biennial. The Honesty has been pulled out and replaced with Snapdragons, which were sown in the spring. So this, I think on the whole, is supposed to be Daucastara, which has got this slightly pinker tinge on it. Some appears to have turned white quite quickly, but yeah, it's half the height it has been before, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. This is one of my 3 beds of cornflower. These are mainly blue and a purple haze mix of purples. Really tall now and perfect for cutting. You just look at the Ami, it's just starting to come into flower. I need to wait for it to be slightly whiter than this before I cut it. And fantastic apricot foxgloves as well, right here. A bit of a happy accident because I've got some self-sown nigella, and the light blue and the apricot look so cool together. And the sweet pea arch is starting to come into its own, flowering on the right hand side, which were the autumn sown plants, and the spring sown plants are only about a foot high down here, but that means I'll get that nice succession. And then in these beds, the main things that are about to flower, we've got the larkspur, which has got a touch of mildew, which I'm slightly concerned about, or powdery mildew. Clary sage, the purple one is coming in flower, the pink is just coming. Scabious, not quite yet. More sweet williams, foxgloves, and loads more cornflower. And I've just interplanted the last of the ranunculus with some cosmos. Larkspur Frosted Skies is just budding up, but a bit of powdery mildew. Clary sage in the blue is just starting to flower, and the pink is just showing colour. Scabiosa, autumn sown, still has a way to go before flowering. Dianthus or Sweet William in a dark red and auricular-eyed mix. So the foxgloves, we've got a mix of excelsior, some alba, and just some ordinary pink ones. The alba look like they're here. This is generally the pink ones, and then excelsior. So here you can see my lines of ranunculus, 1, 2, 3, and then I've got 3 cosmos in between, cosmos apricotta, and then I believe cosmos cupcakes at the other end. So plenty of cosmos just gone in the ground, literally, all pinched out. By pinching out this main stem, it'll encourage more side shoots and more flowers. So the perennials are starting to come into their own. So there's been a few changes down there, and I've just noticed behind the camera some lovely lupins that are about to come into flower. Let's take a look. Okay, the problem with this beautiful warm weather is that everything's gone to flower, A, early, and B, really quickly. So the allium have basically been and gone. They're pretty much, I can't really use those anymore, which is such a shame, but the bees are loving the Belcaricum in particular. Let's take a closer look at those. Meanwhile, the campion have come out, and I've replaced with an unusual sort of cornflower. We'll see how those go. Snapdragons are in. Those were autumn sown ones. Lavatera is going to be enormous. And then I've got another bed of spring sown cornflower, Lavatera, calendula, wrinkled cress and flax, and phacelia. I'll show you. This cornflower aloha is new to me. Autumn sown snapdragons are getting into their stride now, as are the autumn sown lavatera. I'm pretty pleased actually with how strong these cornflower are for spring sown. They're not going to be as big as the autumn sown, but I'm pretty sure these are all white ones, I think, with a bit of Scabious stellata at the end, ping pong scabious, and then another little row of lavatera. Doesn't the phacelia look great? I left these self-sown nigella as a bit of an edging on this bed, which I kind of quite like. I took a lot out, but just left a little nigella hedge. And the perennials, the astrantia is really struggling because it's been so dry, and the clumps are actually probably should have been split. They're too dense, and so they really haven't liked this dry weather. The Euphorbia oblongata just self-sows everywhere. I've actually interplanted that with some clary, which should be interesting. I've got a bed of cosmos there, and then various other perennials. Not a lot to show. They're just growing up nicely. The only one that's flowering is the polemonium, and maybe a bit of verbascum as well. The greenhouses are overflowing. I love this bright yellow of the Euphorbia oblongata when it's young and fresh. The poor astrantia is really struggling with the heat. This was formerly a bed of achillea but got invaded with cinquefoil weed, so cosmos replaces it on the left. And here the polemonium is just in flower and just seems to do its stuff. So my little greenhouse has got all sorts of things still growing on. I've literally just transplanted these calendula orange flash, for example. Just literally did that yesterday. So I've been trying to sow seeds every couple of weeks, just to make sure that I will always have something to put in the ground. I do have a plan, but the plan often goes haywire, so long as I've got something to put in the ground when I need to remove a plant, that's all good news. Let's have a look in the big greenhouse. My little greenhouse is used for recently germinated seedlings and for the ones I've just potted on. So again, the big greenhouse is stuffed full of plants at different stages. For example, sunflowers right here. This is a multi-stemmed sunflower, plenty of phlox. I've also got my own herbs, coriander and more coriander there, and salad leaves. Loads going on in here. Still a little bit small and too early to plant out, and I haven't got space, so I've got to keep potting these things on. The Orlea has been phenomenal this year. I thought it had flowered too early, but actually it's just kept going. So I've still probably got a couple of weeks of that left, which is great news. And in the meantime, I need to get these in the ground. I've got some in the ground. I've got my next lot ready to go in the ground. So I might have to sacrifice one of these little beds just to get some of these in the ground. Right, time to take a look at the orchard where everything is planted up now, so it looks very different. Oh my word, it looks very different in here. So the dahlias, most of them are sprouting. I haven't filled the gaps with my new ones just yet. I've got all the annual beds filled up. We've got a couple of beds of larkspur, some corncockle and some cornflower, some scabious, and some lemonium pink pokers, which I've not tried before. And then we've got more in the little bed over there as well. So let's take a closer look at some of the things. This is a new lemonium to me, pink pokers, still looking quite small. A batch of spring sown larkspur, and some scabiosa, some cornflower and corncockle. So the dahlias have been amazing. The wine-eyed Jill was the first to come up. Some of them a little bit slower. I've already taken out loads of stems from this one. It must have had about 12 stems in it, and I've taken it back to about 7, I think, maybe 8. And I've also pinched out those main shoots as well. So I've done that with all the big ones. The little ones I've just left for a minute to see how many shoots are coming up, and I'm going to be interplanting with some new ones or ones that didn't quite make it. But on the whole, pretty good success rate. So finally, the last 3 beds to show you. More Lavatera, I obviously planted so much. Some dill, which did phenomenally well. I've got these ready. I was supposed to put on the Enviromesh, it hasn't got there. It's probably too late now. If the carrot fly have got there, they've probably got there. I've got a little bit of Nicandra, which I've just pinched out, and then at the ends here I've got some Auroch, and then also at the ends of the Ami bed, so we've got some Ami hiding underneath the Enviromesh over here. So that's going to give me a second succession. I may even catch up with the autumn sown, we'll see. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the middle of May 2025 garden tour. A completely different picture again from last year, with the weather's been completely different. Some things have loved it, some things are now struggling, particularly the small plants, but that's life. We just have to get on with it. But fingers crossed, a lot of these things I'll be using in next week's wedding. So really looking forward to that, getting the season kicked off in earnest. I hope you have a great month and catch up with you sometime next month.